It's good to be in this AI collective meeting.
Yes.
We got to meet a whole bunch of people. And one of the things we want to talk to you about is our AI Musings Builder workshop. We have done 3 cohorts so far, and
That's right.
we're on to our 4th. And how is it going?
It's going great. The feedback has been phenomenal. And when we started the first one, we didn't really have a roadmap ahead of us. But every time one workshop ends, it just leads into the subsequent ones. So overall, it's going well. And I feel the biggest realization I've had running these workshops is that there is a demand for a workshop like this to level out the playing field for everyone, to bring people along on the journey and to really compress the learning, whether it's foundation or the AI tools landscape, is to compress the learning because people don't have time. There is a sense of urgency and nobody has time to wait for another 6 months. So everybody's feeling a sense of urgency to accelerate their AI learning. So that's been my biggest takeaway from these workshops.
Yeah, and personally, even if I think about it, for me, I have learned more by teaching, right? So in some ways, you've got to meet about 30 to 40 new people. Granted, some of them were friends that showed up in the workshop, but they're all coming from different backgrounds, different industries, different age groups, different ethnicity. And as you try to learn from what they are trying to ask, why they are trying to ask, it's been a good learning journey to reflect and really think about what is that they're asking. And also, in some ways, really grateful for this opportunity and making a difference in their life.
That's right. So what are some of the biggest aha moments from these workshops for you?
Some things actually I've picked up a few things. So I remember watching Carlos, for example, in one of our Saturday sessions where he opened up this tool, I think it was called Warp. But what I was really curious about is he used Gemini. And I have always been a user of Claude, but I had not used Gemini. And now I tag team Claude and Gemini to use it in a free capacity. So this was probably not a very big aha moment, but the point is I observe how other people do things, very similar to how they're probably observing me or you, and how are they leveraging, looking to use it. That's been one. The other one is what are they taking away and how are they using it? So I remember Jeremy very distinctly, for example, he went into a proposal meeting, he understood the requirements, and he was able to send them a podcast using Notebook LM, follow up with slides on how to build Gamma. And that is something where we have made a direct contribution to how he's running his business, how he's running his meetings. So it's been pretty interesting to observe these type of things where there is a direct takeaway that we can attribute to, we were able to help him do that in the class.
That's right. I would say certainly from an aha moment standpoint, especially when we see people make the transition between the first and the second workshop, where we kick off the second workshop and ask what changed for them, and to hear about how they were instantly able to apply some of the concepts that they learned in the first workshop. To hear, of course, Jeremy talk about how he was able to instantly produce a proposal that would have taken him weeks to produce. And in fact, the assets that he produced were much higher value. Or even Liza talking about how she built a whole 30, 60, 90-day plan as she was getting ready for her new job in GAM and how it helped her think about it more strategically. Or when I think of Steve, he really started on his builder journey. Because in the first workshop, many people did not think they'll ever build with AI, but then by second workshop, they could not stop building with AI.
Right.
So it's just the aha moment is acceleration that people have just between the first and the second workshop is monumental. And it's rewarding, of course, for us because the task for us is how do you get them in that mindset and how do you make it comfortable for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's phenomenal to see how people are adopting to it so quickly.
And the other thing that I found very interesting about this group is nobody has asked them in some ways to go and learn, and they have come out and tried to do things on their own. So in some ways, they're trailblazing, they're really trying to see what can I do to accelerate my personal journey or my professional journey. So there is a lot of positive energy and momentum that comes into it. And I can already see it in our Saturday sessions where people are like, maybe we could build things together. So we are also in some ways building a community, and that's really rewarding as well.
Yeah, it's phenomenal to see going from one community session to another, people bringing their prototypes, talking about new tools, and in a way, we're learning from the community as well. It's not a one-way conversation. It's truly a community that is supporting each other, and we learn about new tools from them. They learn about new tools from us, and moreover, it's a good brain trust.
Right.
For people to bounce ideas, to get feedback, and sometimes even get past their roadblocks because
Right.
now they have access to multiple builders.
Right.
So yeah, I think building this community has been very rewarding.
I agree. And some of the things that I've heard from people was, I know we start out saying that this is a 2.5 hour class. And I remember Sash saying that, I know it's 9:15, but I could have gone longer,
Yes.
right? So people are really coming from their interest. And the other thing is, if it was not going well, they wouldn't recommend this to their friends.
Yeah.
The previous class, for example, I only knew 2 or 3 people, and out of the 12 to 15 people we had, most of them are people that are recommended by others. So there is a slow grassroots network effect that we are creating that is also pretty interesting to watch and how it is unfolding.
Agreed. So let's talk about the data. We do collect feedback at the end of the survey. What are some of your reflections when you look at the feedback responses?
I think a couple of them. One of them is we specifically asked, what do you like about these sessions? And one thing that always captures my attention is the community discussions. So we've always talked about this is not so much about the tool. The tool you use today may not be there tomorrow.
Correct.
But the fact that this is a positive group, it is a supportive group, and people can feed off of each other. And then one person says, okay, I had this situation, they can piggyback on top of that. It brings in a lot of context and conversations to the point where we were talking about going through all of that and creating FAQ. These are all practical questions people are asking.
Yeah.
So the conversation part of it is great. Of course, we talk about tooling and how to build apps. Maybe, what do you think?
So group discussions definitely jump out in our community or in our feedback as one of the biggest value add. You and I were very mindful of keeping these sessions small so that we could create a forum where people had enough time to ask questions. Intentionally or unintentionally, it's delivering the value to the people. So it's definitely been an interesting insight out of the data. The other thing is also to see what topics people are gravitating to. So when I look at the trends, one of the tools that consistently jumps out as one of the highest ranking one that every professional, regardless of their background, feels that they could put to use immediately is Notebook Venom. It's phenomenal to see that. Then of course the other one is to see Lovable really high up there to build apps, and then Mind Studio really high up there to build agents.
Right, so definitely I think we feel like we have helped them start to think about what we call the AI first mindset. So if there is something, a task in front of you, always try to think, who can I partner with? I remember having this great conversation about, is AI a tool or is AI a teammate? So people have started thinking about from a meta level, and like a lot of people come in thinking ChatGPT is AI, but they walk out with a toolkit of 7 or 8 things that they can use based on context and based on topics that they're working on. So yeah, it's been pretty interesting.
On that topic, another one I would say from an aha moment standpoint is how much people gravitate towards learning about prompt engineering.
Yeah.
We tend to take it casually because we spend so much time with it. Naturally, what you do regularly, you feel as common knowledge.
Right.
But as we talk about what an effective prompt looks like and the importance of role and context and how it steers AI in the right direction, it's always interesting to see how much everyone gravitates towards that and how it tends to be such a new concept.
Yeah, and I remember Brian saying that to say I could have done a class just on prompt engineering and nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just for some of the rest of you that may see this on social media, we try to make it as a good balance between talking about topics so that you get context and you understand the why behind it, but also spend a lot of time hands on keyboard where we curate a bunch of exercises where you can actually do it along with other builders so that you're actually learning it. But yeah, we really want to foster building the community of builders. Maybe Swati will end it with, I know we're trying to put some initiative in terms of how do we keep the community engaged. We've started thinking about the newsletter, we have a WhatsApp group. Maybe you want to comment on that?
Yeah, one of the things we are starting to do is every week or every 2 weeks post some kind of a newsletter that talks about evolution in the space, whether it's in the form of new features and the tools that we've discussed or any model enhancements that are meaningful, that are significant, and why. So a big part of it is not just talk about the tools, but really talk about the relevance of why it's important. And anything we talk about, it's a very curated list. So unless we or I have firsthand tried it and have a strong opinion or point of view on whether or not it delivers the promise, we don't talk about it. We don't share that with the community. So our intent is to keep everyone appraised on the new development in this space, but then do so thoughtfully, not just follow the hype. And as we talk about, even in our workshop, we're really not chasing a tool, we're chasing a mindset. That's what we're really here to nurture. And our intent is to keep people apprised because we understand that on a day-to-day basis, we don't have time to keep up.
And it's not the shortage of content anymore, right? In fact, it is the opposite. So what we're really trying to spend time is think about if people joined us in these classes as a community for certain reasons, we also want to keep that ongoing, so the forum to say, it is something that we may have seen that is relevant to you, that you may be able to apply. So that's been good. That's been keeping us engaged in terms of thinking what to do and how to do it. But we look for ideas from people. We also want a place for people to participate in creating content and curating it. But it's been a fun journey.
It's been the most fun I've had.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Sounds